So, you know that feeling when you decide it's finally time to get serious about your data, right?
With a dread.
Yeah, exactly. You open up a complex piece of software like Google Analytics 4, and within about 10 seconds, the sheer volume of cascading graphs and nested menus.
All those retention cohorts?
Yes, it literally makes you want to slowly close your laptop and just walk away.
It's a very distinct kind of digital paralysis.
Mhm.
I mean, you log in expecting a clear dashboard that just tells you how your business is doing, and instead you're hit with this interface that feels like it was designed by data scientists entirely for other data scientists.
Right.
The software makes no attempt to translate those raw metrics into actual business value.
And for anyone who's actually running a business, that is a massive problem. Your time is supposed to be spent serving customers, driving growth, not reverse engineering attribution models.
Definitely not.
But you hear constantly that mastering GA4 is just non-negotiable for success. But the bridge between staring at a line chart and actually making more money is completely missing.
Which is why our mission for this deep dive is going to feel, well, incredibly counterintuitive, but ultimately very freeing. We're going to actively ignore 95% of the noise in GA4.
Just throw it out.
Exactly. We're throwing it out.
I am fully on board with that. We are basing this strategy on a really pragmatic guide today titled Essential GA4 Reporting for Small Business Owners. And what really grounds this material is the author.
Yeah, it comes from someone known as the specialist at BTW Media.
Right, which is a marketing consultancy agency in South Africa.
Exactly. And the entire guide is built specifically around the realities of South African SMEs. So it bypasses all that enterprise-level theory and drills down into what a local business actually needs to just survive and scale.
Okay, let's unpack this, because I love the analogy we were talking about earlier. GA4 usually feels like sitting in the cockpit of a commercial jet, right? With 1,000 blinking buttons.
And alarms going off everywhere.
Exactly. But BTW Media is essentially taping over the entire dashboard and handing you a simple 5-button remote control.
A remote focused purely on growing your bottom line.
Yes. So let's start pressing those buttons. And let's do it by following the actual journey of a customer. Because before a business can fix its sales, it first has to figure out exactly how people are finding the front door.
Right. Which leads directly into the first critical report, the traffic acquisition report.
Which I like to think of as the friendly teller at the door, just, keeping track of how everyone arrived.
That's a great way to put it. It tracks your organic search, paid search, social, direct, email. But what's crucial here isn't just looking at the raw volume of traffic.
Right.
The real value is how it exposes the gap between where you think your customers are coming from and the actual reality of their behavior.
Yeah, and the guide uses a perfect example of this. It's a local shop success story about a Cape Town-based bakery.
Oh, I love this example.
Right, so they've been spending their really limited marketing budget on social media ads, because that's what everyone tells you to do.
The industry echo chamber.
Exactly. But they pull up this traffic acquisition report, and it reveals that almost all their actual site traffic, the people actually taking the time to visit, are coming from organic search.
Yep.
They're searching for terms like best Coke sisters near me, and almost nothing is coming from that paid social spend.
Which is so common. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, this is about long-term business revenue goals. If you're that bakery owner, you don't just look at that report and say, oh, that's nice to know.
You have to act on it.
You change your strategy immediately. You reallocate that wasted social ad spend into local SEO because it stops the guesswork. You align your budget with the channel that's actually driving people who want to buy right now.
That makes total sense. Okay, so that's the where. But now that they are in the door, what are they doing? Which brings us to the pages and screens report.
Right. Because traffic acquisition tracks the muddy footprints to the door. But this report is like watching which specific items a customer physically picks up in the store.
Like, do they look at it and put it in their basket, or just put it back on the shelf?
Exactly. And the key metrics to watch here are views and average engagement time.
And the engagement time metric is huge, right? Because it's not just about a page being open in a background tab somewhere.
Oh, exactly. GA4 is smart about this now. It only counts engagement time when your site is the active window. So you're measuring active attention.
Which brings up the Biltong subscription service example from the text.
Yes.
So they see a blog post about the best cuts for homemade Biltong, getting high views, but more importantly, massive engagement time. The audience is deeply interested.
And here's the so what for the business. You turn that into action. You bundle those specific meat cuts into a special offer, or you film a tutorial.
Oh, wow. You let their reading habits dictate your product?
Exactly.
Oh.
But it works the other way too. If your key services page has a high bounce rate or terrible engagement, it's a glaring sign it needs a rewrite.
But wait, let me play devil's advocate for a second. Browsing pages is great, but passive reading doesn't pay the bills?
It certainly does not.
Which naturally begs the question, how do we track the specific actions that actually make a business money?
And that takes us from measuring attention to measuring intent, which is section 2 of our deep dive, the events report.
Okay.
Think of the events report as your website's activity log. It captures the interactions that move the business forward.
Wait. I have to push back here, because tracking every single click sounds incredibly technical and complicated. Didn't we promise to keep this simple?
We did, and I promise it is simple.
Because hiring a developer to inject code sounds like the opposite of simple.
You don't need a developer for this. No technical setup is required if you just focus on 3 automatic events that GA4 tracks out of the box.
Automatic events, really?
Yeah, GA4 has these built-in listeners, and the guide gives us 3 quick fixes to boost sales based entirely on these built-in metrics.
Okay, I'm taking notes. What's the first quick fix?
The first one is form submissions. GA4 automatically tracks when someone successfully submits a contact us or get a quote form, which is basically capturing leads.
Right, that's a user raising their hand.
Exactly. So the quick fix is to monitor which specific offers or pages generate the most submissions. Then you replicate that exact language. Or you put those highly converting forms front and center on your homepage to capture more high-value leads.
That's brilliant. Just copy what's already working. What's the second automatic event?
File downloads. GA4 logs when users download things like price lists or catalogs.
Which is a huge signal, right?
It tracks high intent. Because a download signals a buyer is much closer to purchasing than just a casual browser.
Oh, absolutely. I only download a PDF if I'm seriously considering buying.
Exactly. So the quick fix here. Ensure your most valuable documents, like that price list, are highly visible. Make them incredibly easy to download. Remove any friction for serious buyers. Don't hide it in a footer menu.
Make the important stuff obvious. I love it. And the third automatic event.
The third one is scrolls. And this triggers when a user hits the bottom 90% of the page. It basically measures real engagement.
Okay, so how do we use that for a quick fix?
Well, if your key sales pages show high views but terrible scroll rates, your introduction is failing. People are landing, reading the first sentence, and leaving.
So they never even see the actual offer.
Right. So the immediate quick fix is to rewrite the top section of that page. Make it more compelling so visitors actually read your pitch.
But hold on, let me challenge that. What if I'm, say, a 24-hour plumbing business, and my phone number is right at the top in huge text?
Okay.
I want them to see the number, call me, and leave. I don't want them scrolling. So a terrible scroll rate there would actually be a good thing, right?
That is a phenomenal point. Yes.
Yeah.
Context is everything. If the goal is an immediate phone call from the top of the page, then a low scroll rate means the site is working perfectly.
Okay. Phew. Just making sure we're not blindly chasing metrics.
Never. The strategy always has to match the reality of the business.
Which actually brings us to a huge point. Tracking these actions is highly effective, but the whole strategy falls apart if the website isn't built for the specific people trying to use it.
This forces us to look at the who these customers actually are.
Which takes us to the tech details report. And here's where it gets really interesting.
It really does.
Especially regarding the device category metric. Because if we look at the South African context that the BTW Media guide focuses on, smartphone usage isn't just common, it's dominant.
It is the primary way people access the internet there.
So if your report shows 70% mobile traffic, but your site is slow on a phone or the buttons are too small to tap, you are actively bleeding customers.
It is hard evidence that you need a mobile-first design. All the SEO in the world won't save you if the mobile experience is frustrating.
Exactly. And right alongside that is the demographics report.
Yes, the geographic tracking. The guide uses a great example of a Pretoria-based catering company for that.
Oh, right, where they thought their market was entirely local.
Right. But then they look at the demographics report and suddenly they see this consistent traffic coming from Johannesburg.
Which reveals completely unmet demand.
Exactly. And this is how you align with long-term goals. The caterer now has the data to confidently expand their delivery radius. Or they can target Facebook ads to Joburg, knowing the demand is already there. They aren't guessing.
It's just so powerful when you stop guessing. Okay, so we've covered the where, the what, and the who. But there is one final report in this 5-button remote control.
The real-time report.
The now. The guide calls it a live security camera feed for the digital storefront.
That's the perfect description for it.
But I have a question about this. Since we're so focused on long-term goals and, revenue growth, isn't obsessing over a live minute-by-minute feed just a distraction for a busy business owner? Like watching a stock ticker.
Oh, if you try to use it for long-term strategy, absolutely, it's a terrible distraction.
Yeah.
But what's fascinating here is that real-time isn't for strategy, it's for immediate validation.
Immediate validation. Okay, give me an example of how that works.
Well, take the Cape Town restaurant example from the guide. Let's say it's 11:30 a.m. and they just posted a lunch special on Instagram with a link to their menu page.
Okay.
They don't have 24 hours to wait for GA4 to process the data to see if the link works. They need to know right now. So they post it, open the real-time report, and they can instantly verify if people are landing on that specific menu page.
Oh, wow. So it validates that the marketing is actually working in the moment.
Exactly. And if it shows zero traffic, they know instantly that maybe the link is broken and they can fix it before the lunch rush is over.
That's incredibly practical. Okay, so we've gone through all 5 reports. The where, the what, the who, and the now.
We have.
So what does this all mean? What is the ultimate takeaway for the listener's daily routine?
The core philosophy of BTW Media's guide is simple. Stop guessing about your marketing. You do not need to become a data scientist.
Thank goodness.
You just need to dedicate 10 minutes a week, just a 10-minute habit. Review these 5 reports, look for the anomalies, make a decision, and get back to running your business. That is how you transform a static online brochure into a dynamic, profit-driving engine.
And the guide actually mentioned that the specialist at BTW Media offers a free GA4 health check, right?
Yes, exactly. To make sure those specific events and tracking parameters are actually set up correctly for South African SMEs from day one. So the data you're looking at in those 10 minutes is actually accurate.
That's a great resource. Well, this has been incredibly eye-opening, just realizing how much of that complex dashboard we can completely ignore.
It really is liberating. And it leaves you with a final kind of provocative thought to ponder.
Oh, what's that?
Well, the source reveals that 95% of GA4 is essentially noise for a small business owner. It's just a distraction. So it begs a bigger question for you to mull over.
Okay.
If that's true for website analytics, how many other areas of your business, or even your daily life, are bogged down by tracking metrics that simply don't matter?
Oh, wow. That is a good question.
But what else could you radically streamline by just focusing on the 5% that actually moves the needle?